Okay, everybody, we are going. Oh, so what I handed out to you guys in front of you, those are previous examples of the beast. And for the kids at Cy Park, oh, all right, so this is what you're going to turn in at the end of the semester. And if you flip through the pages, you can see how it is set up. So I'm going to go page by page for the kids up here in Park. So the first page is a fly page, and then we have a title page. Come on, let's do an autofocus. All right, all right, and then we have you're going to have your detailed drawing for your project. This is mine or yours? And so, and then your table of contents will be here, and your writings will be here. So, and then the footnotes will be down at the bottom. So this is the first assignment, and the second assignment, and then there's the third assignment, and there's the fourth assignment, and the fifth assignment. And this is for the second semester. The example that I have is from second semester, which has 5 assignments in it. First semester has 4 assignments in it. And then there's the bibliography for your research. And then there will be a list of illustrations that you are referring to in your writings. And then they're not in here now, but they will be for you guys, will be the notes. All right, so this is what the beast is. All right, this is the beast. All right, I'm going to give you guys your first assignment for the beast. And I think in this class, I already gave it to you guys, is to choose an artwork. All right, so you're going to look through the chapters in your textbook, look at all the artworks, and choose one that you want to build your artwork around. So, for example, in this one, this is a second semester beast. And so if you were to choose Mona Lisa, then that would be your artwork, and then you build your research around it. And then if you go and look at these illustrations, all right, these are all works that are related to or around the Mona Lisa, the same time period, the same location. All right, and that's how you're gonna. So the Mona Lisa will be the nucleus, and then the other artworks will be around the Mona Lisa. You're going to choose a different artwork, and choose an artwork from the first semester. So that's chapters 1 through 19, and then you just tell me what that artwork is, and I'm going to make a restriction on this that I'm going to say no architecture. So the pyramids of Giza is a no. So if you like Egyptian art, choose an artwork, a painting, a sculpture, pottery. Yes, sir. Correct. Yeah. It's one research paper. Hey, and it looks like a big deal. It looks big. All right. It's really not. All right. Yeah. It's a lot to do, but it's not all that difficult. When you break it down into its little parts, it's doable. Every student I had last semester and the semester before did it, and they were all able to do it. Like, we did it. So this will be my 4th time doing this research project. Every student I've had was able to complete it. And I've had some students that were questionable, you know, like, you know what I mean? All right. Any other questions about the beast? Tomorrow, we are going to have a librarian from Lone Star College come in and show you how to manipulate the Lone Star library system. Just keep it, just to be in your mind. In the future, I am going to, in fact, tomorrow, I will assign for you to go to a museum. You have to, or not a museum, a library. You have to actually walk into a library and find a book on a shelf that is related to your topic. In real life, not digital. You have to actually walk in. Yes. All right. This is old school. All right. And this is part of doing, and I'm training you guys. This is not just about art history. It's about me training you guys how to do research. And part of doing research is actually physically walking into a library, all right, a college library. All right. And now, the library may not have the book that is exactly for you. So the librarian is going to teach you how to find a library book at another library and have them send it to your library, which I believe will be the one, Tuckerton and or West and Barker Cypress, the Lone Star College, the Cy-Fair campus. That's the closest one to here, right? Yeah. So that's where you guys will be going. There's a Lone Star College Tomball that's close to where I live, and that's usually where I go. But she'll teach you how to do that. All right. Any questions so far about the library assignment? I haven't given you guys the details of it. Yes, sir. Yes. So that all right. Yeah, and all right, you have to bring me the physical copy of the book. Yes. But you also have to go, everybody has to go to the library. Right. You have to go to a library. I want you to understand how to work a library, because are you going to do college after your associates? You're going to need to go to the library. All right. Not everything can be done online. Yes, and I have pictures from just a few minutes ago. I was trying to find the pictures from last semester. I wasn't able to find them. I can't show you right now. I will find them by tomorrow, and I will show you. So yes, and then the other proof, you're gonna have two forms of proof that you were there: a picture of you in the library with your book, and then you bring your book to class. All right, and we'll also force you to get either a library card or a Lone Star student ID. It's super easy. The librarian will talk about it tomorrow, but even just walking into the library and asking the receptionist or the librarian, I need a card. And the Harris County library card, super easy to get. The Lone Star ID, you will need to go to a certain office on campus at a certain time and get your Lone Star ID. But you guys are Lone Star students. You should have a Lone Star ID, or you should get one so that you can do other things on campus. All right. This library assignment is a good thing for you. I know it's out of your comfort zone, but it's a good thing for you. And I'm going to come back to your previous question of, I had a student last semester who bought her book online, but she also went to Lone Star College. The perfect book was on Amazon. It was about her artist. It was a whole book about her artist. She loved her artist. And so she got the perfect book. It was a wonderful book. And it was a book they didn't have in the library. But she could have done the assignment and she also did the library assignment. She brought in a book that she found that was related to her topic from the library. Yes, your next question. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a couple of weekends to do this. All right, so it won't be Tuesday. It might be the following Monday. All right, I'll give you guys a couple weekends to go to the library. That also includes afternoons. The library is open until 8 or 9, so you can go in the afternoons as well. All right, it's not far. It's easy. And it's good for you. It's good for you as a college student should have experience going to a library, getting a book. All right. Okay. That's the library portion. So, and you guys are looking through your textbook to find your work of art. Has anybody found a work of art yet? Okay. All right, so I'm going to end this, and we're going to go here. And we're going to go to Chad, and then we're going to go to prehistoric art. And what time do we have lunch? Is at 11:40 and is now 23. So we have, what, 17 minutes for the rest of this slideshow from beginning. Okay, phones put away, eyes up on the screen, pens, pencils in your hand. All right, just to review, we have we talked about BC and AD, and we talked about the Paleolithic era. And what we're really looking at is not art. All right, it's just stuff. But we looked at the Apollo 11 stones from Africa. And I talked about profile view. Then we went over to Europe and we went into the cave and we found lion head. I like lion head. And then we went to Austria and Venus of Willendorf. Now, if you don't remember anything else from this chapter, remember two works of art. One of them is Venus of Willendorf. All right, I took my first art history in 1989, and I remembered Venus of Willendorf for the rest of my life. All right, and then we went again to France, and then we stopped at Two Bison. All right, this is where we left off last time. Okay, so in the cave, they found this sculpture of two bison, and it appears as though the clay that was used on the sculpture came from a different part of the cave. So it shows thought, and it shows premeditation to take a substance from one part and use it in another part. It's not like they just found it there and they built it there. So that it shows a change in the human thought processes. All right, so as we get closer, we'll take a closer look at the two bison, and here they are. Here's a photograph of the two bison. They're about 2 feet long, each of them, and they have cracks from the drying of the clay. And these prehistoric artworks are almost 100% animals. There are very, very few people in prehistoric art. And that's, later on a test, I'm going to ask you, what's the difference between Paleolithic and Neolithic art? That's one way you can tell, is that, if it's just animals, chances are it's Paleolithic. And these things were carved using like a spatula type tool and their fingers. They used a stone burin tool for the details. This next artwork has two titles. One title is Bison Licking an Insect Bite. Another title is Bison with the Head Turned. I don't think so. I think this is separate, right? And I don't have where this is. The other one is specific, like, because it's in the cave. It hasn't moved from the cave, so that's why I talked about the location of it. With Venus of Willendorf, I showed you where it was found, and also the name Willendorf. That suggests the location of it. But not all of these objects that I'll tell you about have the location with it. But that was a good question. So this is made out of an antler. It's about 4 inches long. It's about the size of Venus of Willendorf. And it is a sculpted antler. And again, it shows the profile of a bison. But notice how his head has been turned backwards. And that's probably to save the space on the antler. And here's what I think: very similar to Venus of Willendorf. I think somebody found a broken piece of an antler and looked at it and thought to themselves, "Hey, that kind of looks like a bison," and then used a sharp tool to carve the head of this. I think the only part of this that was actually carved is the head, and the rest of it just looked like a bison. In fact, this is what bison do. So this could be a very realistic view of a bison. All right, moving on. Elsewhere in France, we're going to go to the La Selle cave. You don't have to write La Selle. That will not be on the test. I need to turn it white. But I do want you to know a woman holding a bison horn. She's made out of limestone. Now, look at her body type. What does that remind you of? Yes, right. It is Venus of Willendorf. So, what from taking what you know from Venus of Willendorf, what can you say about this woman? Right. What's the fancy word for preparing for childbirth or fertility? Right. So we're looking at probably a fertility goddess. Her left arm is resting, her left hand is resting on her pregnant belly. And then what's with the bison horn? I wonder if that's sort of magical symbol. Like if she's maybe if they thought that she's a goddess, maybe the bison horn is like her symbol. Or maybe the bison horn symbolizes strength. Maybe the bison horn symbolizes fertility. Nobody really knows. A lot of people make, a lot of very smart art historians make some very educated guesses. And it's been painted with red ochre. And I bet you're wondering, what's this red ochre stuff you're talking about? Well, this is red ochre. Right, these red colored rocks and dirt. Yeah, sure. You got it? Everybody good with the slide? You need more time on this slide? You good? All right. So red ochre gets broken up into these little rocks and then crushed into a powder and then either mixed with water or mixed with animal fat or just the powder is put up on the wall, and that's how they would paint these pictures or these images on the wall. There's also yellow ochre. It's just very yellowy rocks and dirt, and you take these chunks and you grind them into a paste or you grind them into powder. You can mix it with water, you can mix it with animal fat, or you just wipe it onto the wall, the powder, and it will stain the wall. So we'll start looking at cave painting now. And again, here's what I'm talking about. This cave art, these people don't have time for making art like this. So, did I talk to you guys yesterday about coming home and doing your laundry and stuff? Okay, so I recorded that already. All right. So let's check this out. This is a short little video on how Paleolithic artist painted. By the way, for those at Sci Park, you probably won't hear the audio for this. Anyways, you can take the charcoal that is in from a fire and you crush it up, or you can take these pieces and you can rub them against the wall and it makes lines. We're out of here in 6 more minutes. So we're going to see some cave art that looks like this. And so now you have an idea of how it was drawn. And that is ochre right there. It's hard to tell if it's yellow ochre or red ochre. But what they do is they crush it up. And they just use their fingers to wipe it onto the walls. All right, and that's how cave artists or the Paleolithic artists made their artworks. So we're going to move on from that, and we're going to go to Europe again. You already know where Europe is, and this time we're going to go to Spain. Where is Spain on this map? Where's Spain? Yeah, right. I see people pointing at the bottom. Right, it's way at the bottom, and then so as we look at Spain, we're going to go way to the top of Spain. And then we're going to go to the Cantillana del Mar. Cave of Altamira. And if the bell rings, I'm going to continue talking for the sake of the video. You guys can go to lunch. But anyways, so you notice the gate on this, the entrance of this cave. And as the people walk in, these scientists walk in, how are they dressed? Like, look at, like they're all covered up. Why are they all covered up? That's right. It's exactly right. They don't contaminate the artwork. That is not to protect them. It's to protect the artwork. So the story goes at Altamira Cave. I can't even pronounce this guy's name. Saltuola and his 8-year-old daughter Maria are exploring a cave on his estate in 1879. They had already found lots of carved bones and stone tools and flint, but as they are exploring their cave, because she is small, she can look up. And when she looks up, she sees all these things on the ceiling. And these things then are, these are bison that's up there. And so in 1880, nobody believed him that he had found these things. They thought that it was a hoax. The paintings were too high quality and there was no soot marks, meaning the Paleolithic artists were not burning fires in this cave, because when the fires go out and the smoke goes up, it turns into soot. And with this, there would have been like a black film over this. So there wasn't any of that. And one person said that that he had hired a contemporary artist to paint these images. But as more caves were discovered and better examination of this cave, and it showed that there was layers of clear mineral over the painting, and that can only happen over thousands of years. So he was proved to be right, but he wasn't vindicated until in 1902, but he had died in 1888. So he had died when people were thinking that he was a hoax. But you know what these things remind me of? There's an episode of Star Trek that has these things on the ceiling that fly around and attack you, and then they attack them and shot them with their phasers. But that's what these things remind me of, like that. All right. Anyways, these things, there's a whole bunch of these images of these bison and bull, and they're not related to each other. So like they're not aligned the same way. It doesn't tell a story. All these are just randomly placed. And there's 10,000 years difference between the first ones that were painted and the last ones that were painted. So that means that an artist painted on the ceiling, thousands of years later, another artist painted on the same spot, and thousands of years later, another artist painted on the same spot. So the yellow circle shows one group that was painted at one time. The red shows another group that was painted at another time. And then the pink shows another group that was painted at another time. But that's what these figures are. They are bison. And we're going to stop there. We'll pick up with the film when we come back from lunch.